Okay, in this lecture we're going to be talking about the if function. If functions are very simple yet very powerful to use. Essentially what an if function does is it says if this factor or number of factors are true, then calculate this. If this factor or number of factors are false, then calculate this. And let's look at an example from our regular spreadsheet. So once again, we're looking at our spreadsheet with our sales reps and their monthly commissions. And in our previous lectures, we've added in our monthly bonus. And before we were treating it as a holiday bonus so that everyone got the bonus. But in this case, we want to change this bonus a little bit so it is a commission-based bonus. So we have another column here that I've added called our monthly target. And you can see I've defined the monthly target as $2,100. And you can see from our list that we have a couple of people who have not met the monthly target of $2,100, one person who has met it, and two people who have gone over the monthly target. So what we want to do is create an if function that will allow us to add the monthly bonus to the people who have reached their targets and not add the monthly bonus to the people who have not reached their targets. So the first thing we're going to do is just put in a qualifier here saying yes, they've met their target, or no, they have not met their target. So we're going to create an if function here. Of course, we start with our equals. And then, of course, we can go to formulas. And the if function is in logical. You can see it right there. You can also go to insert function, of course. And I'm under logical again, and it'll be right there. So we can double click that, and it will bring up our function arguments box. I'll bring that up closer so we can see. And you'll notice this function arguments box has a couple of more fields than our regular simple sum formula, for example. So the first thing is the logical test. And you can see here it says it checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true and another value if false. So as you may recall from back in one of our previous lectures, we were talking about operators. And in this if function, we're going to use some operators. We're going to use greater than, equal to, or less than. So first we're going to select the cell that we're doing the calculation on, which is B2. And so it basically says if B2 is, and then we'll say greater than or equal to, and then our magic number is 2100. So we'll put in 2100. So that's our formula, and then we're putting in what we want in our cell if it is true. And in this case, what I want it to say is if it's true that this is over greater than or equal to $2,100 or 2100, then I want this to give us a result of yes. So we're just going to type in the word yes. And then if it is less than $2,100, I want it to say no. So in this list, if they have met their monthly commission, this column is going to say yes. And if they have not met their monthly commission, then it's going to say no. So we enter all that in and we click OK. And you can see this is not greater than or equal to $2,100, so it gives us back a result of no. And I'll go ahead and copy our formula down, and it completes it accurately. So you can see, referring back to our formula, B4 is greater than or equal to $2,100, so you can see that it is. It's equal to $2,100. And if that is true, then it's going to give us a yes. And it did. It gave us a yes. So that gives us the data in this column, essentially the answer to our question about their monthly commissions meeting the target or not. Now let's go and create another if statement to add in their bonus if the answer here is yes. Okay, so we're going to go click over here and do another if statement. So we start with our equal sign. And of course it's pre-populating if here because that's a function we've used recently. Or we can go to our logical again, or we can go to insert function. And if we go to most recently used, it's going to put it right up at the top. Or you notice if we're in logical, it'll show up there as well. Whichever way is quickest for you to find it. But you click on the if statement. And then we're going to put in our test. So our test is if this cell for our monthly target equals, and you have to put quotes around the words no, and then you say here if the answer is true, then we just want it to enter the total monthly commission and not add the bonus. So we'll just click on B2, and you can see it's giving us the answer of $2,000. And then if it's false, in other words, if the answer is not no, but it's yes, then we want to have the total monthly commission plus the bonus. And you can see that it's already doing the calculation and giving us $2,000 plus the bonus to be $2,500. So we click OK. We'll copy our formula down. And if you look closely, and this is why you always check your formulas, because you'll notice this isn't working. These people here have met their monthly target, so it says yes, but it's only taking their regular monthly commission. It's not adding in their bonus. And the reason for that is because when I created this formula, if we take a close look, I did not put an anchor on this first cell to make it stay at E2. So it has automatically moved down to E4. So what I'm just going to do is I'm going to go back here and I'm going to delete these. I'm going to go back into my original formula and I'm just going to go up to E2 and I'm going to click F4. And as you recall from our absolute versus relative cell references lecture, it puts the dollar signs next to the E, which is the column, and the 2, which is the row, to anchor our reference to this exact cell. And then I'll click enter to put in my formula. Now I'll copy it down one more time. And we'll double check it again, and you'll see now where Jane has, yes, met her monthly target of $2,100, it's taking the 21 plus the 500 and giving us the correct value now of 2,600. And we can click on one of these to double check, and you'll see that it is indeed referring to this cell, which is B5, plus our anchored cell of E2. Perfect. So that's a simple example of using if formulas. And I know that at this point, things are starting to get a little bit complex. So let me just go through the formula one more time to just make sure it's really clear to you how this comes together and how it all works. And this will be helpful kind of referring back to our anatomy of a formula lecture, because I'll just show you the anatomy of what we have here. So of course we start with our equal sign, and we're looking at this cell right here, the formula in this cell. It starts with our equal sign. Then we add the if function. We use our parentheses to define our range of cells that we're doing the calculation on. So if I double click on this, it'll make it easier for us to see. So you can see that first we are referring to cell C6, and we're saying, which is right here, and we're saying if C6 equals no, which this one in this case equals yes, so it's going to come back false. If C6 equals no, then just enter the results from cell B6. So then if this did say no, it would just enter $2,500 here in this cell as the answer. And then where we have the other comma, it essentially says for all other scenarios, calculate B6 plus cell E2. So if it doesn't say no, if it says anything else in here, then it's going to do this calculation. So in this case, it does take this cell, B6, plus E2, the bonus, and it gives us back our total of $3,000. If I hit enter, you can see the total there again. And we'll quickly look at one of the ones that says no. It's the same formula for both cells, but this one meets the criteria of the formula and the other one didn't. So again, it's equals if cell C3, which is right here, is no, which in this case it is no, then just give us back the number from B3, which is the commission, without the bonus. If it doesn't equal no, then give us the commission plus the bonus number. And as you can see in this case, it does actually equal no, so it gives us our first result, which is just B3, and there's B3 right there, and it essentially just copies over B3 into our total monthly pay. So hopefully that makes it a little bit more clear how the breakdown of the function works. But that's how you use an if function to essentially bring back one calculation if a value is true and another calculation if a value is false.